Pardon me?
Each time
Yes.
that you died,
Yes.
was there like a different incarnation that came through?
An incarnation that came through?
Yeah.
No, but there were themes that were related to them in other times, in other lifetimes that I have died. And I wrote about one that was, let me see, does that correspond with any of mine? Corresponds with how I reacted to dying, for sure. I talked about one in one of my books of a lifetime I had as a young pharaoh when I was going through the initiation, and I trusted my teacher. And my teacher had taught me how to bilocate, how to heal wounds, how to do all this stuff. And so I went through all of the initiation very well, and then at the last second, there were two paths. And my teacher said, take that path. And I took that path, and it killed me. And it turned out that, in effect, he did that purposely because I was going to bring a new concept of the divine into my world as a pharaoh, and it wasn't time for that. So I have had that theme, because there are all kinds of levels of death, come up again and again in this lifetime. Not trusting the self, saying, oh, the other guy knows better than me, you know, and in the reverse of that, being so stubborn, it's this way and I'll die for it. I've done that in many lifetimes. This is what is true and I will die for it. Well, yeah, and you're the only one that's dead, you know, so support your purpose of life. So those echoes go on and on and on. What I would say about my 6 near-death experiences is that none of them have been the same. I've experienced purgatory, I've experienced rainbow bubbles giving all the laws of the cosmos, life and death, and I've experienced everything in between. You know, they're all different, and they're all probably related to whatever you're working on karmically at that moment. And so again, it's hard for us to grasp this, but there are no accidents. And when we even allow that idea to come to us, then we begin to take the kind of responsibility rather than, oh, I'll be blamed or it's my fault. Instead of all those things, the power of choice. Because again, if you go a direction which doesn't serve you or the world, you will figure that out. You'll figure it out and you will turn in the other direction, even if you have to go into another lifetime to turn in that other direction. So it's very important for us to expand how we perceive, because again, if one person can manifest, you know, something out of nothing, why don't we all do that? Why are we all flopping around about money and who's going to give it to us and how it goes? Why are we doing that? Because we have not come to a place where we could feel the power of responsibility. Responsibility is simply, I will be the one. I will do that. And that's why we walk on fire. That's why we do all incarnational work, to begin to expand the mind to realize that those things that we see outside us, like what you were talking about, are inside us. And as humans begin to practice that, you know, we'll be a different species. And it's all in the play, as they say, the practice of it, you know. If every night you went to bed, you imagined that you were doing some miracle, whatever it was, you know, suddenly one day you'd find yourself doing it when you least expected it. And it would seem like, I've done this before. Well, yes, you have. And every night when you went to bed, and in many, many lifetimes when you actually did that. I love to take people into lifetimes in which they have wielded power, whether they misused it or they used it well. Because we need to expand that and not be so breathless about egos and my power over your power, but rather, wow, you know, this is here for us to wield. How can we do it well? If we've done it in one lifetime, why aren't we using it in this lifetime? I taught many courses at the Joni School, And one of them was about heroes, about people who had powerful, maybe it was charisma, maybe they were brilliant scientists or musicians or saints or whoever they were, but to tune in to their consciousness and begin to recognize coalescence of frequencies that belong to them, that allowed the veil to be pulled away, and suddenly there's the potential, there's the possibility. That's why I'm doing potential body. I'm going back to base one, because you have to get in your body, to do all these things you really do. And so how can we be in a body without worrying about if it's going to punish us or be sick on us or kill us? Or trying to prevent something, I'll take my vitamins, I will meditate, I will eat well. Why? Because I'm scared to death that if I don't, my body will do something to me. No, it's the other way around. You are doing to your body. So whenever I break a bone or bump my knee or whatever, I always say, I'm sorry, body. As if it were a person, and I mean that sincerely. I'm so sorry. Because the body actually cries when you hurt it, or you ignore it, or you punish it, And so there's so much to be learned by the expansion of our consciousness, rather than the limitations that we get into. But I can say for sure that we repeat lifetime after lifetime, in the moment of death, in the moment of birth, and everything in between, themes that we've experienced before. And they become grooves. And so we continue those patterns. So it's time to look around and get above it and look at that pattern and say, is that one I could wield and use now, or alter in some way that would serve? Or is that a pattern that I need to get rid of? Because no one else is going to get rid of it for you. But illumination helps. If you see a lifetime, if you have an aha moment, the lights go on, it pushes your evolution. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that the clearing work would do it for another.
Yes, clearing work is fantastic.
So
and it's fascinating. We so often think, oh, if I look at my themes, I'm going to discover I'm a bad person, or whether it's in this lifetime or another lifetime, the unspeakables. My higher self at the beginning of this work said, let's dig out the unspeakables and find the humor in them. And once we do that, we begin to recognize the power that we have to choose and why we choose the things we do. So clearing is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing because it brings us humor and it brings us compassion and it frees us to be who we are. What you're clearing is not you. My higher self says that our emotional bodies are possessions. We are not our emotional bodies. We think we are. We live. Our emotional body controls our mind, controls our body, our physical body. There's no disease in the world that doesn't have an emotional trigger. I see that with leukemia with children. Every family I've ever worked with who had a child who had leukemia, the parents were divorcing, the parents were suffering, the parents were having some kind of emotional trauma, and the child just took it on. Is that for me to say that's bad? I can't see the hologram of that, but it happens.
It's so vast.
So clearing is just a way of becoming the true self. And being able to look at all the things that are there with compassion and humor.
Well, we could say that the object is a form of clearing if you do it the right, in a way that is...
You mean the external object?
Yeah, the external object.
Yeah, I think it's a slow way around. But I've always been into speed. I would always say that it doesn't matter how you come to anything.
Yeah.
You can use the object. Yeah. You can use the experience. There's no experience you can't use. Okay. And so again, my higher self always says, use life.